Okay, so just in case you missed it, we are now continuing from the question number 21. But before that, there was a question. The professor was asking that how come we're using 25 as price and not 35? See, professor, we just found that maximum revenue is achieved when the quantity is 25,000 units. You remember that? So we say when quantity is 25, which is when X is equal to 25,000 units, price is equal to 50 minus 0.001x. You see? Yes, so what do? You say here X is 25,000, of course. So what do? You're going to get the pricing now. You're going to say 50, this 50 here, minus 0.001. What is X? We found X 25 multiplied by 25,000. How much are you going to find? You're going to find 50 minus 25, which will eventually give you how much? 25 kwacha per unit. You see? That is the price we are going to use. So what do? You know, I'll come back to the equation. We said profit is equal to contribution minus fixed costs. So what was our contribution? Our production at this point to maximize profit, we know is 25,000 units. So what do? We simply now get the variable costs multiplied by the contribution. What is contribution? Contribution is simply brackets. What is the price that we have? 25 kwacha, which is this one, which we found there. Then we remove the variable cost. What is the variable cost? Is 20 kwacha there. And then we might remove the fixed costs. Where are the fixed costs? There we go, 100,000. We have 100,000. So what do we have? We are going to have 25,000. That's how we found that figure, Professor. Okay, we're just doing a recap from our previous session so that you see. So now we've answered your question?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now let's move on with another question. This time around, we go with a past exam paper. It is from the 2014 exam. Now, this was not just 2014 exam, but it was a March 2014 exam, one of its kind in 2014. There was some point when the exam was now. Okay, so what is the question saying in this question? We always go with the Lusambo way whenever we meet an exam question. So what is the question saying? Required. Which one are we going to answer first here? Madam Emma, what question are we going to answer first?
C. Explain the three weaknesses of the total production cost price.
Yes, you see, in every exam question, please go with the Lusambo way. This is so because the Lusambo way is indeed the free way. So you have to explain three weaknesses of the total production cost plus pricing approach. Have you seen? Total production cost plus pricing approach has got a lot of weaknesses, but the exam just wants how many? 3 weaknesses to get 3 marks. So why don't you go give it a go and just write those 3 weaknesses? So there are lots of weaknesses, but number one, we can talk about the total production cost plus pricing. Here, this kind of approach has a number of weaknesses. So number one, we can talk about this approach. It ignores the demand for the product. Have you seen? This one ignores demand. No demand for product. So weakness number one. It ignores demand for a product. So because the price that is determined may not be the profit maximizing price, as the relationship between sales volume and price is not established. So you may say we've spent 10,000. So let's sell at how much? At 15,000. But this price may not even be the price maximizing. May not be the profit maximizing price. So you have to give that reason. Number two, what we mean that the basis of determining the markup is often subjective. Have you seen? So basis of determining markup is always subjective. Is always subjective. You know, when you're subjective or not objective, then you know there's a problem. It's always subjective to market and demand conditions. It's subjective to market and demand conditions. You see, that is the problem. Another problem that this one has is always subjective. Huh? Maybe let me, apart from demand conditions, let me say it's always subjective. You could have also said, if you wanted, it's always subjective, and as there is no general accepted guiding principles to apply. Have you seen? No generally guiding principles to apply. You could have talked about something like this one ignores the possibility of the price being adjusted. You see? Ignores possibility of price being adjusted to market and demand conditions. You see, all you say is that no, we are going to sell at 10 kwacha per unit. That's it. Don't think about inflation in the market. You see, sometimes there would be need to establish a suitable basis for fixed overhead absorption. You see, now when there is a change in the fixed overhead absorption basis, there would be a change in the price, even when actually there is no change in the total fixed overheads. You must think about all those things. But this kind of approach ignores all those factors. That's what you're supposed to do. You only did 3. We've talked about more than 3. Okay, so there we go. Next question. Which one is the second easiest question, Mr. Mfune?
D looks simple.
D looks simple. You see, what we are simply using is a method called the Lusambo way. In the exam, always use the Lusambo way, because the Lusambo way is the free way. Get the free marks first. So explain the pricing strategy of market penetration pricing. Now see the marks, those are 5 marks. Your answer should include the circumstances in which it would be appropriate for Strange Limited, for this company. So this means, of course, you've got to know the kind of situation the company is in. Have you seen? Now, we mentioned earlier in our earlier session that market penetration, this kind of pricing is suitable in situations where you are launching a new product, but there is already what? Already existing competition. Have you seen? So in order for you to penetrate the market, what do? You are forced to charge what? You are forced to charge lower prices than your competitors. Why? Because you want to gain equal market share. You see, those are the reasons why you might want to use price marketing penetration pricing. But that's what the examiner is asking you. The examiner is asking you to explain. So just explain it, define it, what is market penetration. And then also, after explain it, and when it is most suitable, then they've told you give circumstances in which it would be appropriate for students. Now, narrow it down to the company in question. So look at the company in the question and see what position is this company? Are they launching a new product, or is there already existing competition? Have you seen? So that you advise when this kind of strategy may be appropriate for this company. That means you have to read the story. But even before you read the story, you already know the answers. You're just waiting for confirmation in the story. Have you seen? So we are going to confirm. Next, easiest question.
E.
Yes, what does E say?
Identify and explain three factors that would determine the degree of elasticity of demand for product you need.
Yes, you see, we talked about other factors area that may influence demand other than the price itself. But again, there are lots of factors that may determine the elasticity, have you seen, of demand. Even before you go to reading that story, you just have to know these factors. Number one, there's what we call the price of the good. Price of good. Price of the good. These are the easiest marks, price of the good. Number two, when we say price of the good here, we are simply saying that an increase in the price will result in decrease in demand. Have you seen? If ice cream is going at 10 kwacha, and then you suddenly increase it to 50 kwacha, the bigger, the demand is going to go down for ice cream. So price of a good determines the elasticity of a product, sometimes, if not most of the times. If the beaker is 50, you change to 10, it means the demand will go up, definitely. What else do you have there? You could have talked about things such as price of substitute goods, you see? Price of substitute. So substitutes may also be able, for example, if there's an Apple laptop going at one Apple phone, just one Apple phone is going at 15,000. You see? And then there's a Nokia phone, which can do whatever the Apple phone does, going at 2,000. So what do? You simply buy a Nokia phone as a substitute, you see? Because it still will be able to give you the same service that the Apple phone can give you. You can call somebody, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can go to Facebook, you can take pictures, etc. So these prices affect the demand of a product. So if somebody will say, why should I spend 15,000 on an Apple phone when I can get the same phone at 2,000? Take, for example, an Apple laptop has got 500 GB hard drive, 4 GB RAM, 2.8 processor, whatever. And then the other HP laptop also has got the same thing. But the Apple laptop, because their brand has made a name, is maybe 15 pin. And then the HP is just 5 pin. What do? You are going to go for the HP because it can give the same service. Next item we could have talked about there was the income levels. Suddenly, Mr. Garcia begins to have some money and he stops eating raw meal because they feel it is for poor people, when actually it sounds more nutritious. So they begin to buy breakfast. So income levels, have you seen? Household income levels. When household income levels go up, demand for normal goods will also go up. Instead of buying a Pamela, you now buy a 25 kg of mini meal. Instead of eating too much beans, this time around you add a bit of meat, chicken, and just some normal vegetables. Because of household income levels have gone up. Instead of buying the Vaseline, or it's Vestline, whatever it may be, you now buy lotion. Normal goods. Because now you have enough money to spend. So we could have talked about all those kind of things. Those are the things that may affect what, and also even expectations. We could have talked about expectations. If I told you today, Madam Emma, that in the next 2 weeks, phones in Mobile City will be reduced by 75%. If you wanted to buy a phone which costs 2,000 kwacha today, and I told you that in the next 2 weeks it will be reduced by 75%, you are going to wait up until the next week, then you go and buy at a lower price. Are you seeing? So price expectation affects demand. So if people are going to wait, it means this week there will be no business for this phone because people will be waiting to go and buy it next week. But again, if I told you today when I woke up and I told you that no, the phones which I'm saying at 5-pin-1, the Samsung phones, today I'm giving them at 1,000 up to next week Friday. Meaning starting today up to next week, too much demand for these phones. People will be buying because they know after 2 weeks the price is going to go up. Expectation. So there are lots of things we would have talked about to get all those free marks. So other valid points must be also accepted by the examiner, as it always indicates that he accepts any valid point made. Okay, so now we've exhausted the theory part, which basically is the free mark. Now we can go to number 1. We've been told to determine the demand function equation for product unique. 4 marks. Oh, let's go to our working board this time. This time we go to our working board. This was March. So the price, the demand function is always the same. Price is equal to A minus BQ, where we know A is the price at which demand is equal to 0. Here, demand is equal to 0. And here we talk about the change in price over change in quantity. And then this one is simply the quantity required. Quantity required to maximize profit. So what do we do? Let's make the demand function. So for us to make the demand function, we must go and read the story because there's a story. So there we go. Determine the demand function, 4 marks only. Oh, okay. And then calculate the monthly optimum sales volume and sales price of product unique and determine the maximum profits that would be earned each month. So there are many things we're supposed to do. Optimum, sales volume, and sales price. Have you seen? And there's a keyword there, and determine the maximum profit. So we are doing 3 things in that question. Okay, so let's go. Let's move on. Oh, okay. Looks like my my settings have changed a bit. I cannot. Okay, I'm going to change my settings a bit. Okay, there we go. So there we have a question there, and we are supposed to look for the optimum price, the demand function in the first place. So what's our demand function? The demand function is easy to calculate. We're simply going to work out a few things in the demand function. Number 1, we're going to work out the change in quantity and change in price, and then we put it into the equation. Okay, so let's go. There we go. Okay, so we have the data there. We've been given this information. We can just sometimes, you know, if you know what you're looking for, because you're looking for the demand function for this product. Now look at the selling price. The starting selling price was how much? Was 20, and then the starting production was how much? Was 18. So if you want, you would have done something like that. There are many ways of killing a rat. They don't have to be poison because you may poison your children. So here, what we do here, we are going to do a bit of acre working. And the working that we're going to do here is going to be something like this. Number 1, of the price is equal to A minus BQ. A, we know, is price at which demand is equal to 0. We have to find that figure. Now, that figure can easily be found when we find B, because B is the change in price over the change in quantity. And then this one is simply the quantity required. So what do we do? Let's find B, then we can find A. Okay, so what is our B? Our B are going to get the change in price over a change in quantity. So if you want, you can pick any. You can pick 20 minus 21, 20 minus 22, 20 minus, you can pick any. So for the purpose of this session, I'm going to pick 20 minus 22, just to show you can pick any. So change in price, we have 20 minus 22 over change in quantity, there we go. We have 18,000 minus 16,000. Pick the price which is labeled with the same production. So we're going to have 18 minus 22. So what do we have there? We have 20 minus 22 over 18 minus 16. So what do? We get this minus this is 2 over, so that is 16,000, which is going to give you how much thousand? It is going to give you 2,000. So when you divide 2,000 in that figure, you're going to get 0 point, another 0 point, then 1. So B is equal to 0.01. So in our equation, you even put the equation here. You say price is equal to A minus, now B we know must be Q. So now we know that B is equal to 0.01. This point is, so it should be 0.001. Yeah, 0.001. That is our B. Just write it properly. So we know our B there. Our B is simply 0.001. We'll find our B there. So let's get our A. So now how do we get our A? Our A is simply the price at which demand is equal to 0. Now see, we can simply say if B is equal to 0.001, now we have an equation here. Have you seen? We have an equation. So the equation is equal to P now will be equal to what is A? We are going to get the price at which demand will be equal to 0. Now here, we are going to get what? The current price. Our current price is how much? Is 20. You see, our current price is 20. You see? So we simply get our 20. We put it there. And then minus, what is the B? B is, hello?
0.001.
Sorry, 20 is supposed to be on P. That was it, an error. So P, so 20 will be equal to A minus 0.001. What is Q? Multiplied by the current quantity is how much? 18,000. So what do we have there? We have our A will be equal to this minus that is how much? 18,000 multiplied by 0.001. How much are we getting?
18.
We are getting 18. So we're going to say A is equal to 20. Now this one is going to be plus 18. Because when we multiply this one to a negative figure, if it goes there, it's going to be positive. Have you seen? When this guy goes, that will be positive. So that A remains positive. So we have A now is equal to, what is the price?
38.
38.
38.
So our demand function is going to be P will be equal to A minus BQ. So now we have P will be equal to what is A? 38 minus what is B? 0.001 Q. That is how you get your 4 marks. That is how you get your 4 marks. Very, very easy indeed. Very, very easy indeed. That 4 marks. Remember, do not, they're asking for the demand equation, demand function. Have you seen? So when looking for a demand function, you have to remember you're only looking for 2 things. You're only looking for A and B. Have you seen? Because if you look for another price which you're going to put here, you're going to distort the meaning of the demand function. You just look for those 2 things and insert them, and there you go. Don't go beyond, because even if you go beyond the exam on marking, it will simply end here. You will simply end here, yeah, simply end there. Okay, part B, what does it say? Calculate the monthly optimum sales. Okay, let's go to part B. So there, if you want the demand function there, we know that here, this figure, there was the 20 minus 22, and then we did over 18 minus 16,000, which has given us 2 over, how much is that? 18 is 2,000? 2,000. And then we found 0.001. And then we found our equation to be P is equal to 38 minus 0.001 Q. That's our demand function there. We did some maths, ABCD. Okay. So now let's go back. There we go. Our next question there says what we have to do is this. We have to calculate the monthly optimum sales volume and sales price of product unique. So sales volume and sales price. And also we work out the maximum profit. 8 marks. 8 marks is not a joke in the exam. So here, what we do. Now here, for us to work out the optimum monthly sales volume, in short, we are simply looking at the quantity which is going to help us maximize those profits. Now here, we want to set the optimum sales volume. It is simply the sales achievable when marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Have you seen? It is simply the price. Just a minute. Okay. There it is simply something was burning, there was some fire going on. So here, to get optimum sales volume, what we're simply looking for is this optimum sales volume and sales price. You see, the sales price here, the optimum sales price is simply achieved at the point where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So that's what we're looking for. Even the volume, the same thing. So what do? We simply go to our work and simply do that equation. We're going to say the part B here, we're simply going to say the price that maximizes profits is achieved at the point where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Now remember, marginal cost is simply the variable costs. Marginal revenue has got an equation, and the equation is marginal revenue is equal to A minus 2BQ. And then marginal cost is simply the variable cost, of course, per unit. So what do we do here? Here, what we do is this. We bring in the demand equation. Remember the equation? Here's our equation. That's our demand function. So what do we do? We are going to simply bring it there. We're going to say marginal revenue is now going to be equal to what is A? A is 38 minus 2. 38 minus 0.002 Q. Have you seen that? Which will now be equated to what is the variable cost per unit? The variable cost per unit here, we are going to work the variable cost out because they've not given us in this question, but they've given us things to use. They've told us the direct material is 6, the variable overhead is 6, which is 12. Listen, the fixed cost is how much? Is 3. We're going to put the fixed cost. So the variable cost is how much? Is simply 12. You see, the variable cost per unit is simply 12. So what do? We are going to equate that equation to 12. So there we go. So we're going to put 12 here as a variable cost. So we have this guy coming this other side here. So this guy is going to come this side, and then this guy is going to go that side. So what's going to happen there now is this. We are going to have 0.002 Q will be equal to 38. This time around, because this guy is a positive guy, if he goes this side, it's going to be a negative guy, minus 12. So there, what do we have? We have 38 minus 12 will be equal to 0.002 Q will be equal to 26 over 0.002 over 0.002. Then there we go. Our quantity that requires to maximize our profits is equal to how many units are those?
13,000.
13,000 units. You see? Now remember what we said. We said this quantity, do not forget, make no mistake, this quantity must be used simply to go and calculate the price. So what is the price? The price function is here. So what do? We now get P will be equal to 38 minus 0.001 Q. So now P will be equal to 38 minus 0.001, this time multiplied by 13,000. When you multiply this by that one, what figure are you getting?
25.
13.
So P
13.
is equal to 38 minus 13. So P is equal to kwacha 25 per unit. Nishimwasanga, have you seen? No, you were told also. So you found the maximum volume, the volume that is required, and also you found what the price that is required. So you've gotten your 6 marks at this point. So now what is remaining simply is the profit, because the examiner also told you this. He told you that also work out what? Also be able to work out the profit required, the maximum profit. Now profit has got an equation. Have you seen? Here we said when working out the profit, we said profit is simply fixed costs, contribution minus fixed costs. Have you seen? Contribution minus fixed costs. So how do we get our fixed costs? There we go. Let's read the story now. Have you noticed from the start we've been working out figures, we've not read any of their story in this question? There's a lot of data which we've not read. See, all these things, we've not read anything. Have you noticed that? So there, we are going to read here. Now, look at this. We've been given this data. Now, see this information. At this price, the company has been selling 17,000 units of product unique every month. The monthly fixed production overhead absorption rate has been determined on the basis of the normal level of activity of how much? 17,000 units per month. So that's their budget. Have you seen? Their budget is 17,000 units per month. Have you seen? Monthly fixed production overheads remain at this level of production volumes of up to 22,500. So meaning here we are still in the normal ranges. So what do? We simply get this 17,000. 17,000 is our budget. Now every unit has got a fixed cost inside it. Have you seen? So we multiply by the fixed cost per unit to get the total total fixed costs, and then we remove from the contribution to get our what? To get our profit. You see? So our monthly fixed production overhead is going to be something like this. So our production overhead will be like this. We're going to get 17,000. We're going to get 17,000 multiplied by 3. How much do we have? 3 kwacha per unit, because we've been told that the fixed cost per unit is put at 3. So we're simply going to get here, we're going to get 17,000 units multiplied by 3 kwacha per unit. This is the fixed cost, which is giving us how much? It is giving us 51,000 kwacha as total fixed cost. Now, in case you're wondering where the 3 is coming from, the 3 is here. It has been given to us in the question. The examiner is so kind. He gave us the 3. There we go. That is our 3 there. There, that is the 3. Okay. So now what do we do to work out our profits? Now to work out our profits, here we are going to do this. Remember, we are told that what is the production that we've discovered? We've discovered the production is going to be how much? The production is going to be 13,000 units. You see that? Now there's an equation here which we use. We say profit is equal to contribution minus fixed costs. Our fixed costs have been put to be at 51,000. What is our contribution? Contribution is simply selling price minus variable costs. What is our selling price? Our selling price that we found is how much? 25. Have you seen? So 25 minus our variable costs, how much? 12. Minus 12. Have you seen? Which gives us how much? Then multiply by how many units? 13,000 units to get the total contribution. So how much is our total contribution? How much is our contribution? Can they multiply?
69.
How much?
69.
So 169,000 minus the fixed cost of how much? 51,000. What is our profit? So our profit, how much?
118.
Our profit will be 118,000. That's what we're supposed to do to get those workings. However, there are alternatives. There are alternatives. Some people, they would have preferred to go it the long way. Those who love wasting time in the exam, they would have gotten the sales, the 13,000 multiplied by 25, less variable cost, blah, 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 and keep you waste time. Just use the shortcut. This formula is a shortcut because you already know your contribution, your price and the variable cost. Just multiply by the production and remove the fixed cost, and then you have your profit there. So that was the end of this question. That's how you're supposed to get. How many marks were those? Those were 25 full marks. Wow. 25 marks. So we've gotten 25 marks. Okay, and you've been told that these guys, strain, production, and sales unique. The company has previously determined the selling price of production by adding a $40 of production of sales, blah, blah, blah. Again, the company newly engaged marketing office foreign between month to month. Okay, so the question is done. Now we go to another question, question number 22. So those of you who are joining us online, kindly stay tuned. We are now starting the next question, question number 22. In the next video,